I think by the time that the rumbling is activated, the only way for it to really go would be for the rumbling to basically complete itself, because it got pretty close to the end with the 80% thing. I think it should have gone to like fucking 90 or even 95%.
Ugh.
I enjoyed the AOT video you made.
Yeah, like, like I could have went even further with it, honestly, like I do, but I don't want to balloon like a lot of this stuff. I don't want to waste people's time, that type of thing, because like I could have went even further with the Dune comparison, because like Aaron's like little like what he was doing, like you compare it to like Lelouch in Lelouch Rebellion, albeit in that like that actually somewhat worked. Humanity actually ends up like joining together until the movie comes out, but that's another thing. But like it is basically like I even thought this like as I was like working on it, I was like, Aaron's plan is basically a shittier version of the Golden Path, in which that is kind of similar, but it's different. Where basically like Paul's son, and to summarize, does something kind of similar to Aaron's rumbling, albeit it's basically just him being a massive tyrant over the universe for the last like for a couple thousand years basically. And what it is basically like etching this massive lesson to humanity that will be in his own words etched into their bones, that to essentially be free of tyrants, be free of gods, be free of spice, and send humanity to the far reaches of space and be free of everything. Basically, kind of like Andrew Ryan from Bioshock, but on a cosmic scale. But the thing is that Leto II is Paul's son. Like, the path itself means you have to lose your humanity, you have to kill your name, you are a monster known for all of humanity, but this is all for the greater good, because once he finally passes, and spoilers, like, humanity does retreat to the far reaches of space, basically. But and it is debated among the fans that is the Golden Path justified. I'm in that weird zone. I say yes and no because it's on a cosmic scale of things, and I say the argument more so focuses on Paul. Paul should have been one walking it, and he shouldn't have done what he did, just leaving it, because leaving essentially Leto II to pick up the pieces, which, like, again, that's shitty and really shows you how good like Dune is, and that these characters are human despite being extremely powerful. So yeah, like that's the funny thing about that though, is that like Frank Herbert wrote a series of books literal decades before like she did like the mangaka, like what he thought of like beforehand, and did it better. And that's a damn shame too, especially since the possibility of Attack on Titan sequel coming out, like if it's coming out, which is a damn shame. And also your point and on how the retaliation shouldn't even have happened, because like what was it, 400 million people, the world's in shambles, Paradise is the only place untouched, like people would have starved to death, 100%.
Yeah.
I plan on eventually doing my own rewrite of Attack on Titan, but there's so much little things that I want to fix, and it like spreads throughout the entire show. By the way, I'm an anime only. I haven't really gone into the manga because the art can be a bit rough sometimes.
It is rough. There isn't that much of a difference other than like Hanji being like her gender for some reason isn't specified. For some silly reason, like that's only in the anime. She's only female in the anime. They don't regard her by gender in the manga, but just like no one really cares except Twitter freaks. But
and I want to do it right, like for my thing, something where I did disagree with you in the Attack on Titan ending. You said that Aaron should have been stopped a lot earlier. I think by the time that the rumbling is activated, the only way for it to really go would be for the rumbling to basically complete itself, because it got pretty close to the end with the 80% thing. I think it should have gone to like fucking 90 or even 95%.
what the fuck? Like Yeah, I mean, agree to disagree, I get it, but like the reason why I say that is because like Aaron killing off like 80% of humanity already, practically like, and also the ending itself, like not just the other stuff, but like Aaron's proven right. That's the fucked up part. Aaron's proven right. Like Paradis wiped off the map. It's like now, and like you look back, you're like, wow, they should just let Aaron kill the world. They should just done that.
That's my view on it. They should have just let Aaron kill the world.
Nah, that's edgelord bullshit. That's you can have that opinion you want, but that's just edgelord nonsense. It's like
I'm a Jaegerist, as you could probably tell by my name and lolly server, Jaegerist Mama. I think that the rumbling was justified. I understand why the Alliance doesn't like it because it's literal genocide. But I think by the time it happened, it was the only thing that could have saved parody, because everything that led up to that point, like declaration of war, the rest of the world was entirely in on just wiping out parody, even before Aaron popped it out of that building and munched on Willie Tiber.
But the thing is, like them stopping him, like before he even completes it, would show the world these people aren't monsters.
Would that guarantee that they still wouldn't attack parody?
No, but they would have had more allies at the very least. They would have said like, "Oh wow, this entire threat was thwarted by Paradis." It's like, okay, they're not the monsters we think they are.
Yeah, but the threat also came from Paradis. They already hated Paradis for the Eldians oppressing the rest of the world for 2,000 years. And now that they stopped this problem that came from their island and fucked up a bunch of their people, they're just automatically, a bunch of them are going to go, I guess they aren't all that bad. No, they fucking hate Paradis. They'll just have more ammunition against them. No matter if they stop the rumbling occurring is enough of an issue. Like, a thing I had a problem with the Paradis officials before the second overthrow was the idea of the partial rumbling. That was fucking stupid to me because, hey, what if they do the partial rumbling and the rest of the world takes it as a sign that Paradis is gonna go out and conquer the world? What if they see this as the rumbling, but it's not as strong as they thought it was, and they see it as a sign of weakness? There's 1,000 different ways that the world just would not get along with parody, and it's the world's fault because the world attacked parody in the first place.
I mean, like, does essentially a squabble justify mass genocide?
When Shigashina fell, the first punch was thrown, and everything that happened at any point, the rest of the world could have said, you know what, this is fucked up. We shouldn't be doing this. At Declaration of War, when it was revealed that the Marlians had gone onto the island and started fucking shit up and accidentally
unleash the Titans.
Accidentally caused Eren Yeager to get the founding Titan and set off the chain of events that started getting Paradis off its ass. At that point, why didn't they just say, well, why the fuck should we support you? You guys kind of helped start the end of the world. They didn't say that. They said, oh yeah, sure, let's go fucking kill the island people. Every single person in that crowd and the nations they come from were just completely fucking fine with wiping Paradis off the map.
Aaron even dude, like I get your point, but like entire family lines, little, like one of the biggest, like it's almost iconic now, like the image of the person like holding up the baby and the people trying to move it, trying to say, because they're on this edge, and like that's the image you have. Like that is what's
the world made it a choice between the world and his family. I would have made the same fucking choice. It's fucking evil. A lot of good people died, got caught under the rumbling. But you know what? Shit happens.
That's what this is about. Revenge for for what happened so long ago? At what cost, Megatron? At any cost!
That's
It really
that's an extreme. That's an extreme. That's why I make the Dune
That's
comparison.
what you get when you delve into these kinds of topics.
Like, no, it's not like that I'm not interested. It's a good topic. It's a good discussion to have. But it's like this is kind of the reason why I made the Dune comparison to begin with, because it's like, oh, how much of that is in your control? How much of that is justified? And like Paul, like his jihad killed 80 billion people. Like his actions and the actions of the Fremen, which turned from these secluded people on this desert planet into what is essentially a massive army of zealots killing in his name, and like entire ways of being, entire family lines were wiped off the map and will never be seen again. All of that was from his doing. Now, yes, the Harkonnens are evil. Yes, the Emperor is evil. Yes, the Bene Gesserit are manipulating everybody and are absolutely, they need to be taken down. But the answer wasn't the answer that Paul wanted. Paul wanted his revenge, and in doing so, ended up throwing the universe, the known Imperium, into chaos and like under his thumb. Like he actually tells, like I didn't even mention this in my video, where in Dune Messiah, and Villeneuve is going to have an issue with this because Paul straight up mentions like Hitler. He straight up says, like, he talks about his death count and tells that to Stilgar. Like, that is the mindset Paul was in. Part of him regrets it, but he's so fixated on that. Now, like, that's the big thing. Now, but like, that's the thing. That's why I make that comparison, though. Now, like, is the death of innocent people justified in a grand scheme of things? There were, honestly, I say like no in this regard, and why the rumbling should have been stopped earlier, or at the very least Aaron could have done something else. Now we can have the discussion of either the writing or Ymir as well, because and the aspect of time travel, because it's pretty much specified that time is fixed. Now there's a way you can do that and actually not completely piss on free will. I think Legacy of Kain does that. I think Dark and Legacy of Kain does that the best, where anything
Terminator also does it pretty well.
That's the I mean, if you consider the first two, yeah, I agree with you on that. The first two movies, like everything else after that turns into this weird Doctor Who thing where it's like Skynight's inevitable. Basically, it will be replaced with something else or be moved down the line. And as much as I love the Sarah Connor show, it also does the same thing. But at the least, like Legacy of Kain does something where it's like the Soul Weaver, and it gets close to itself, and time changes, and it changes over and over again. Basically, that's a neat idea. And you can maybe have that argument that maybe Ymir is the real like problem here, but still, like, let's just remove Ymir from this instance regardless and say, okay, Aaron has free will. Aaron is doing the rumbling. One, he didn't need to do total genocide because that's killing 2 billion people, or at the least 1.6 billion people, all for the sake of this small conflict. Now, he could have easily done the exact opposite and just used it as a deterrent the entire time. Like, all he had to do was just leave all of the Colossal Titans around the island or somewhere around it and say, stay away, don't fuck with us, we'll stay here on our island. We didn't even know the Western world existed up until recently. So, there was
a problem with that, in that the use of the Founding Titan requires a Titan shifter of royal blood, which Aaron is not. That's the reason why he and Zeke had to be so close, despite him not really believing in Zeke's stuff. It's the reason why Paradis was the Paradisian government was so shaky with Krista, because they wanted to feed Zeke to her and have her become a Titan shifter. But Aaron didn't want that because he wanted his friend to have her freedom. So with Zeke having, like, as stated in like the Marley arc, as he stated, to have like a lifespan of like 1 year left, that solution he came up with, it could only really exist for like 1 year, and that's even if like you consider Zeke just not wanting to go out with his eugenics plan for the rest of his foreseeable life. There was like the circumstances line up to where I honestly believe the only two options that there were for the rumbling to not happen and everyone on Paradise gets fucking genocided, or the rumbling happened and the rest of the world gets genocided. Those were the only two real options at that point, because that was the only two ways it could have gone.
The only two ways?
Yes, because you had the rumbling, the main mechanic that everyone is fucking banking around, is controlled by two people, Eren Yeager and Zeke Yeager. And Zeke had his own plan and Eren had his own plan. And they only had so much fucking time, especially when you consider the fucking invasion of Paradise that was happening at the time that those two made contact. They had to make a fucking split-second decision, and both of them disagreed. And in the end, Eren won out. What did you think he was going to do? He did what he fucking did, the rumbling, because that was the only real option that he had available to him.
That was not the good option, though.
What was the good option then? The partial rumbling that isn't guaranteed to work?
No rumbling.
All the rumbling.
Then everyone on Paradise dies. Because if they
don't
don't
have
do the
to.
rumbling,
You can use
then
a
they're gonna get
deterrent.
fucking wiped out.
The rumbling is a nuclear bomb.
What deterrent?
It is a nuclear bomb. It is a deterrent. You come stomp on us, we will
Because
stomp
it
on
worked
you.
so well to prevent the invasion of Paradise in the first place.
They didn't even...
Like, even before the like events of the story, for 100 years, they knew that the King of the Walls had the rumbling in his back pocket, and yet they still went on and invaded. The rumbling is not the rumbling does not work as a deterrent. It works as a weapon because it was a deterrent for about 100 years, and then they decide to invade anyways. And when they had the means to do the deterrent, they just decided to do a full-scale invasion to prevent that from happening.
Mm.
So what you're saying is the rumbling is surpasses here.
A weapon. Just past Metal Gear. Gosh, I'm getting serious deja vu here. Yeah, I don't know. You're gonna have to elaborate on that rewrite, dude, because, man, I'm still... I get your point, but, like, that is some serious... only see the worst of fucking humanity level shit right there. But I get it.
Why should I only see the worst of humanity? Because the humanity that's right next door to Paradise is fucking Marley. Do you remember the Marley arc?
Yes. I remember the arc. I watched the show and I've read the manga. But...
Attack on Titan's ending, the one we got, it was a very tragic ending that bitched out. I think it shouldn't have bitched out.
That's a weird way of looking at it. I don't know. I think like FMA and others like did the whole cycle thing better, though. Where it's like that where Edward actually proves everybody wrong, though. And I still stand by that. But whatever. But I think that's a good image right there to put. Just Paul Atreides and Eren Yeager right there. Go ahead.
Let me just say this. Genocide, controversial opinion here, but genocide is an evil action. But in Attack on Titan, when it came to the time where Eren had the ability to do the rumbling, that was literally the only thing he could have done to protect Paradise.
Like that's how he visions it, though. I'm gonna close it. Don't worry, Vincent. But like that's how he envisions it. But doesn't mean he's right. Doesn't like what do you suggest the other characters do? What do you suggest Mikasa, John, Carney, like all of them, just stand by and watch while innocent people die?
I don't know what they should do. I mean, I'm not gonna fucking begrudge them for being against the rumbling, but I don't think they're right for opposing it. It's like what Aaron was like in the manga. He said, or in the anime, he said, you know, I'm going to do this, but if you want to stop me, I'm not really going to stop you because you have your own free will. It's like Hanji's my favorite character in the show. I love her to bits. I disagree with her and think that the rumbling was really the only thing that was viable for parody, but I'm not going to fucking look down on her for being against it.
Man, that's fucked up.
Hey, when the world makes it, you are the world. You better damn believe it's going to be the world.
Fucking hell, man. Yeah.